This not your average podcast. You ain't talking about nothing. When they hit the highway, yeah, they talking about something. Better tune in and listen. Get the scoop they diggin'. It's just an open discussion. Now tell me what's your position. This not your average podcast. You ain't talking about nothing. When they hit the highway, yeah, they talking about something. Better tune in and listen. Get the scoop they diggin'. It's just an open discussion. Now tell me what's your position. Lady Roscoe on point. She gon' tell you the drill. You got Yoko Camille. All work, no play. She gon' give you the spiel. Let's talk about it. What's the truth? They just keeping it real. Square business, that's the deal. They gon' speak on something, just pick a topic, get it poppin'. Not your average type of show, they keep it rockin', ain't no stopping. Controversial, who cares? We taking over, keep on watching. Motion steady on go, anticipation got 'em flocking. Ain't nothing average about it, just keep glad that you found it. Tell a friend about it, know we all about it, so we gon' speak about it. Yoko Camille and Lady Roscoe, leave no doubt about it. Scream it out from the mouth. This not your average podcast. You ain't talking about nothing. When they hit the highway, yeah, they talking about something. Better tune in and listen. Get the scoop they diggin'. It's just an open discussion. Now tell me what's your position. You know what it is. Not your average podcast. You know what I'm saying? Yoko Camille, Lady Roscoe. Y'all tap in. You know what I'm saying?
Go. Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Not Your Average Podcast. This is Lady Roscoe.
And I'm Yoko Camille. And thank you for tuning in, whether you're on the toilet or on the go. Thank you for tuning in and enjoying our show.
Yes, indeed.
So how was your week?
My week has been really busy.
Really?
Yes.
Mine too. I can definitely relate to you on that.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's 2024, and they say it's the year of what do you call that? The truth comes out and change. So a lot of things have been changing, and I feel like a lot of truths have been coming too.
Oh my goodness, truths and more truths. And speaking of truths, like, how do you feel about transracial people?
Oh, transracial. It's one of those new words, right?
I guess it's a new word. I had never heard of it until I was watching this documentary. And it wasn't even transracial. It was trans-black.
No, that's called appropriation.
So you remember Rachel Dolezal?
Dolezal,
yeah. Rachel, you remember her?
I do remember her.
She has reinvented herself. Her new name is Nkechi Dualo.
Okay, so Rachel, Miss Rachel, who was born of a white descent, has identified as a Black woman, and a lot of people were surprised to find out she was white.
So let me give you some facts about her. All right. So Rachel was born to Ruth Ann and Lawrence, who are both white. And they are mostly of the German, Czech, and Swiss origin now. Can't get no whiter than that.
Right. So
she, for some reason, identified as a Black person when she was, when she was growing up. Now, part of that was because as a teenager, her parents decided to adopt 3 African-American children and 1 Haitian child. So with her being around them, she just assumed or started to identify as Black. But the strange thing about that is her parents were raising her brothers and sisters, the African-American ones, as if they were white. They didn't know their Black side. They were being told that they were white and treated like that. So she started identifying herself as being Black, and then later on, other people start identifying her as biracial.
Yeah, because she started, if you see the way that she kind of looks now, she kind of passed because of some of the aesthetics that she did.
But that was still as she was a teenager. This wasn't even, she hadn't even started identifying herself as Black. This was because she was around the other Black people and everything. So they was just saying, oh, she's biracial. And then after that, she started fully saying out loud that she identified as Black. Now, her parents were super strict, and they believed in, I guess, Jesus, and they took that to the extreme. So they had her brother normally. They had a regular pregnancy with him. With her, they decided to, only person they needed was Jesus Christ. They didn't need anybody else.
So they just gave birth on their own?
Yes. And
okay,
as the attendant, they put Jesus Christ on the birth certificate.
Oh, really?
Really. That's how much of eccentrics, or whatever you want to call it, her parents were.
I'm not gonna lie. So, like, stories of people who become famous or end up in the news, they always have some wild backstory about some parents on either like a religious thing or extremely poor or just some weird stuff. And you're like, what? You're like, you can't make this up.
Right. And so it was like, I guess she has, and one of her adopted brothers' name is Isaiah. And for some reason, he is okay with the way that she thinks. And he lives with her because she adopted him or took him in because, according to them, they were being abused and neglected and all that. So she decided to get him.
Parents?
Yeah, and bring him in.
Oh, gosh.
But one of the other brothers said that wasn't true. So it's a lot of back and forth. And I can sort of see where they trauma bonded over some stuff, and they came up with these wild stories. But it took for her to go on to the real to finally acknowledge that she was born to white parents. But she then said, yes, I was born as white parents, but I identify as a Black woman.
So she went on the reel and said this?
She did. Now, I didn't watch the full documentary, but I started watching it just because, she has now resurfaced. She's now resurfaced because of her OnlyFans. And she got fired as a teacher. She was working in Arizona as a teacher, and she got fired.
I don't understand why she thought she can jump on this bandwagon that all these neighborhood moms are doing, because she tends to have somewhat of a public presence. So when she does something like she did, of course, it's going to be all over the news about what she did.
Well, she said she was doing it to sell her art, including paintings and sculptures and like mixed media. But it also did have inappropriate pictures of her on there also. And, she had her OnlyFans tagged on her Instagram page. So if you're a teacher and you're out promoting this, of course they're going to see this. Someone is going to come across these. And I didn't see any appropriate pictures, but there's supposed to be some. I did see her in some bikinis. I did see her in one where I guess her nipples were showing. So it was a little suggestive. And depending on what age she was teaching, you don't need to be having that out there.
Honestly, yeah. Okay. See, here's the thing. People can make side money the way they want to, but I don't know why people forget that media and social media leaves a stamp. We grew up before technology really popped off like it did, but we learned early that everything is traced. Remember when they used to get those people for streaming music and downloading them from LimeWire, and the FBI caught them?
Yeah.
What makes you think that you're doing a picture, you're uploading your tags, you think people aren't going to put two and two together? That's where I'm confused, is if you're really trying to hide something, you would separate it. Go ahead. No.
I was saying, and it's not like we don't have other people that, want to be Black and act Black, or however you want to put it. That's not the issue. But when you lie about something and then you take on this whole identity to become, the president of the NAACP and all
that
these
was
other
wild.
things.
Yeah, they were like a white lady. I was like a white lady. I was like, and then you had to double check your life. Wasn't the NAACP for Black folks?
Right.
You're like, I know what I know.
Association for Colored People. Advancement for colored people. Yeah, I think that's what that stands for. That C is for colored people. Yeah.
So I got confused. I was like, whoa. And then when I saw her and I just said, wow, like it reminded me of like a Dr. Phil episode or something.
And then it's like, if you watch the documentary and if you go on her Instagram and people are saying, oh, I just don't understand why people are so mean. And you did, let me read one of them.
I'm so tired of these people caping for these people.
Girl, it's ridiculous. Like,
not everybody needs a hero, you know?
You're amazing. I'm really upset that your side hustle has gotten you dismissed from your well-deserved teaching position. Isn't that illegal that in order to supplement your job as an educator, you pursue higher paying venues and they shame you for that and take away your bread and butter, academic teaching position, and passion? I have so much respect for you and what you do for us all. I am so upset that you've been through this and you're going through more. Please go set up a GoFundMe and we can donate. Yeah, no.
That sounds like someone trying to live vicariously through her. Like, I don't know, like there's some type of envy and like, I don't know. It's just weird. It gives off, I want to be you kind of vibes.
I watched your documentary and I can't believe people are so intolerant of others' truth. If you are tired of those haters, I will give you my full blessing to be a Latina.
I don't want to say what I'm thinking right now, so I'll let that one go.
I'm glad Netflix put that documentary out, and I'm always supportive and catchy. And it's sad we live in such a hateful and intolerant world. You're a fighter, and I admire you for your perseverance. P.S. Your art is amazing.
Mm-hmm. She must have cried. I didn't watch the documentary.
No.
I like watching stuff. I
didn't watch it all, but she didn't cry. She just explained, her. And she ended up writing a tell-all story. She does have a memoir that she published, and it's called In Full Color, Finding My Peace in a Black and White World. So I know I'm no psychiatrist. I'm no therapist. I'm not a doctor. None of that. But if it is true that they were abused and they did go through some kind of abuse, I wasn't there, so I can't say that they didn't, then I do see where they may have some kind of mental issue going on where she decided that she wanted to reinvent herself and distance herself from who her parents were and all that abuse. So she came up with this new person, and that way she's this Black person. She's not related to these Bible-thumping white people, that abused us. So I can sort of see that in a way.
Right.
I don't think that it's right to lie about it, because they also then tried to compare her to Bruce Jenner. And with him being a white woman and he was born a man. But the thing I say about Bruce is he didn't lie about it.
Yeah,
he never said he wasn't a man.
A lot of people joked about it in Hollywood too. Like they knew he liked dressing up.
Yeah,
kind of everybody. It was like when a certain
his family secretly knew. They caught him certain times, but they never really thought anything about it. But he said he was a man. He never said he wasn't a man. She was saying that she wasn't white at first. And it finally took her to, after an interview and everything, to finally admit that, she was born to white people.
Only in America can a white woman write a book about being a Black woman in America.
Man, and I'm like, you have never, man, I'm like, I just don't understand. Like, I wish I could go and be a white woman. I don't.
She got famous off of this. Like, she's infamous because of this.
Like, I don't want to be a white woman. I want to have their privileges to be able to go and not have to worry about anything. Because we go through so much. We have to be so strong for everyone.
Right.
And it makes no sense. But hey. In Kitchi, if you had been truthful, I don't think that would have been an issue. But, lying about it, and that's where you did wrong.
I
You know,
refuse
you
to
did.
call her by that other name.
I mean, she had to legally change it because anything related to Rachel Dolezal, she wasn't getting any jobs or anything.
So she
had to-
went like all the way to Africa and found the most serious.
Oh no,
name
she probably
wanted
just Googled it. You know,
Google.
you know, Google helps you with everything. It's the truth. She probably just did a Google search and found an African name, and she found an Igbo name, and decided to be really African, Kenyan or Ghanaian, and now she's able to get jobs because she's in Kichi, and she was saying that people weren't taking her work, all the things that she's capable of doing and that she has done. So that's why she changed her name, because they just see her name and don't look at all the things that she's capable of. But you tarnished that. Like, you were doing such a good job, and you could have did that as Rachel, as a white woman fighting for us, instead of saying that you are a black woman and you went through the same trials and tribulations we went through. Yeah, you may be partially going through that now because you lied. So yeah, you're getting seen as a black person. But no, honey, you didn't go through what we went through.
No, not at all. And I wish her the best in a lot of things. You know, it's there's a comedy skit that Tiffany Haddish did some years back, and basically it was when the what do you call that thing? The census people came to her house, and they, you know, she was like, well, what am I supposed to fill out? And they were like, just fill out what you want, like, basically. And she was like, okay, fine. And she said she was a Caucasian woman on the form. Yeah. And that she said she was making jokes like her credit score went up and all this good things and getting offers on the home. She's like, now I'm a white woman, you know.
Girl, I wish it was that easy. I'm gonna start putting it on documentations and see what I get. When I do a long one, I'm gonna put that I'm a Caucasian lady and see if I get it. I mean, my Social Security number and everything gonna say a black woman, but hey, I don't know. Then I'm gonna bleach some of my photos. I'm lying. I love being my skin color.
Right.
I love my complexion. But hey.
Yes.
But, you know, let's go ahead and get started into our main topic. Yes. What is friendship?
So, what do you feel like friendship is? And so, what is friendship? I feel like friendship... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. So, by definition, friendship is a deep and meaningful connection between two and more individuals. It's a bond that is built on trust, mutual understanding, and support. Friends are there for each other through both good times and bad times, offering companionship, empathy, and encouragement. True friendship involves acceptance, respect, and the ability to be oneself without judgment. It's a relationship that brings joy, laughter, and a sense of belonging.
Nice.
So that's what, you know, Google gives us as friendship.
You know, I feel like friendship is like a special bond between individuals built on mutual trust, respect, support, and understanding. It involves sharing experiences, emotions, and moments, and joy and sorrow. I'm sorry. No. Sometimes comforting when you're, you know, to laugh with laughter. And friends are not only, I feel like I have a friend, even if it's just to listen to what I have to say. You know, right. It doesn't always have to be financial. Or sometimes if, you know, someone needs a ride because something happened to their car, or, you know, hey, can you do me a favor and go get my mom from here because I'm stuck at work? Like those little things I feel like are friendship worthy things, honesty, communication too.
Yeah. And it depends on like the situation. You have to know what kind of friend you are. Because there are thousands of different friendship types. You know, you have your childhood friends that have been with you forever, you know, since you were a little kid. Yeah. You know, you have your best friends who are closer than any of your other friends, you know, the ones that you can tell things to and just, you know, go really deep with. You have your casual friends that you just enjoy spending time with occasionally, but that friendship can also be deep. It may not just be as consistent as your best friend. Then you have your work friends, and we started off as work friends.
Yes.
Working in off the set, with Marcus and everything, doing Gold Digger's Confession,
Right.
Public Relations Nightmare.
Yes.
So, we started off as there, but we've grown from that, to, I'll say, casual friends right now.
Right. True.
So then you have your online friends. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if you play Monopoly Go, but I've encountered so many different friends playing that, and it's the only time I talk to them is when we're trading cards on Monopoly Go. That's it.
Wow.
But
No,
I guess
don't play Monopoly Go though.
But do you play the game?
No, I haven't. I haven't even gotten into Monopoly when I was a kid.
No, not Monopoly, but like, do you play Xbox or PlayStation?
Oh, you mean that? You know what? I do. I have older consoles, so they really don't connect to the internet like that.
Okay,
but my son does play like online games, and he chats with friends in like Roblox.
Yeah,
and,
so that's where
like
online friends come into play.
Right.
People that you may have not met, but you have the gaming platforms and stuff like that, or you talk to them on Facebook or things like that. Mm-hmm. Then you have the long distance relationships or friendships, not relationships, where my best friend is actually in Arkansas right now.
Okay.
And I have another
That's
friend
where you're from.
I have another friend that lives in Virginia. Mm-hmm. And me and the one who lives in Arkansas is actually one of my best friends. Okay. So we can talk about anything. And even though we may not communicate as much as we used to, the connection is still there and still strong. And we've been through things where our friendship has been tested, but we've gotten through it, through talking or whatever, and we're stronger for it.
Right. I have those type of friendships too. I have a friend who's in Arizona. I actually met them when I was in Florida doing an internship, and I met a lot of good people out there. And another friend, she lives in New York. She travels a lot for like school and work, but because last time I think I spoke to her, she was in Thailand. I don't even know. I was like, girl, you're all over the world. But, I have those long distant friends. And even now, because I live in San Antonio. Yeah. I really don't have too many friends in the city. They're still like out in the city, kind of like how you're an hour away. And like I have another friend who lives in Austin with you too. I have people that live in Dallas, so they're a little bit more further. Houston, San Marcos.
Yeah. I've been here, 7 years? And I only have 2 friends that live here in Austin. Mm-hmm. And we would say, I would say, we're casual friends. One of them I met doing modeling, so we've grown closer, which is the activity-based friends that we shared a bond, doing modeling, being in the same agency, and we've just grown closer. Yes. And so friendships come from all walks of life. Right. So you can get a friend from anywhere. It's just how you categorize that friend. Because some people don't share things with their work friends, and they won't go out with their work friends.
I don't go out with my work friends. I keep everybody separate. And it's no offense to the people that I do work with, but I really do prefer to keep my professional life very professional. And my personal life, personal, regardless of what I'm doing, Yeah. And if I just happen to see you out and about, that's just what happens. The most that I'll do is maybe like company outings. I would do that. Or even if my coworkers have children around the same age as my children, then I usually would, say yes to like a birthday party, and we'll come and, hang out at the child's event. But anything extra than the norm, I do not hang out. There have been occasions of maybe one or two people in all of my professional career to be external friends, but I just prefer to keep work as work, just for personal reasons. I just like to keep personal things personal, and work I rather be seen in a professional light. Nothing that I do bad, but
Right. And I mean, even with your work friends, some of them end up becoming close and casual friends, and then it's just some that you just need to leave at work.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. When it comes to
personal business.
right. When it comes to friendship, what do you categorize, or what do you think makes a good friend?
Oh, man. I would say people who would be there for you. A good friend also is just someone who checks on you, like, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? Even I have a friend who I don't even always talk to, but when we do speak with each other, it's, hey, we just caught up to like where we left off. I feel like communication, understanding, and respect, I think goes a long way for any type of relationship. So those type of things, I think, are qualities of good friends. Somebody who respects you is not going to do things behind your back and tarnish who you are, I guess you can say.
So here are some things that I feel are indicative of being, a good friend. Okay. You need someone that's a good listener. Because who else are you going to talk to when you have all your problems and you're going through things with your boyfriend? Who you supposed to talk to? That's what your friends
right. The wall.
So you need them to be a good listener. Then you need somebody that shows empathy and support. I'm telling you what's going on. I don't need you telling me or not listening and not, being empathetic. Like, I need somebody to show support. Respect and acceptance. Respect your friends' opinions, beliefs, choices, even if they don't align with what you feel, Right. They also need to be reliable and trustworthy. I don't even have to go into details with that.
Man, I've got many stories about reliable and trust. Honestly, I can be very naive at times. I'm about to just talk. And,
go ahead.
I had an instance where this is when I was younger. I had just graduated high school, and I had moved to Florida on an internship, and I was dating this guy, and we've always been kind of funny, like rocky. Our relationship is always kind of weird, and I never really felt stable in it. But he was away in a different state, and I'm getting offered an internship, and he's over here like, well, maybe if you don't go, I'll be back, because I'll be back by the time you need to leave. And I was like, I think I'm going to take this opportunity because I want to do something for me, So it was in between, like, choosing between staying with my boyfriend or until he came back, or going. And I decided to go. And literally a few days after I had got to Florida, I find out that he had hooked up with someone who was my best friend in the past. Yeah. And it was something that happened before. But the thing is that she had been who I felt like was a friend for multiple years. And he had been around, and we kind of been off and on, but I was in shock because that was a secret that they kept, and it happened more than once. And I'm like, wow, like, how did this? And this is my first, like, that was the first time I ever was pissed off at the age of 19. I've always been kind of calm. It was the first time I ever went off on anybody. I was like, wow, I've never felt this way before.
But see, like, okay, I've had the opposite. Okay, you've had to accuse your friend. I've been that friend being accused of doing those things, and I'm not that person. I don't want your man. In high school, I had one of my best friends, her boyfriend, like, we all was cool. Like, it was a group of 3 or 4 girls, and we were cool with each other's significant other. We really didn't like our boyfriend, but I was like mainly the only one that would talk to him and deal with his BS. So one day he was mad at her and decides that he wants to try and talk to me. I told her, this heifer got mad at me. Honey, I don't want your man. Then I had another one who told me, what did you think, that I was going to choose him over you? No, but if you want to be the fool, you continue to be the fool. I was just letting you know. And so it comes with a double-edged sword. If you don't tell, then it's something wrong with you. You do tell, like, it's always something. You know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I won't do that. And then I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna tell you. And I even had another friend on the other end while he was trying to talk to me so that they could see who was doing all the stuff. And she still didn't believe it.
Dang, we just did a whole covert operation. No, because some people are blind to it. It's like the people who don't listen to your advice that you're supposed to get, and you end up being with this person for the rest of your life, and you just wonder why you're so miserable.
They've been together since high school. We graduated in 2000, and they've been together from 11th, 12th grade until now.
Some people will die on their hill.
I mean, he's did some things, you know, I'm not going to just put their crap out there, but, you know, that he ain't been the most faithful person. But, you know, I don't know what he's doing now. Me and her don't talk that much, but...
Because that's her man.
Yeah, I mean, we've made up, you know, because one of our friends passed away. So, you know, we made up and everything. And we talked even, you know, last year. But I'm hesitant to get close just because I don't want to put myself in a situation like that again. Because if I tell you something and then you don't believe me, what's the point of me telling you?
Yeah. At least you were
or
able
if you feel
to
that you know, you're going to choose them over me. I wasn't trying to get you to choose. I just, you know, as a friend, wanted you to know what your man was doing. But, you know.
My man.
Your friend also celebrates your accomplishments. Mm-hmm. I have a friend, the one I said was my best friend that lives in Arkansas.
Yes.
Anytime I post anything that I'm doing with my modeling, my acting, or anything,
right?
If I get a share, I already know who it's coming from.
Oh,
she is my number one supporter besides my mom. She is always there. Like I said, we've fallen out, but we've came back, and it's like we haven't fallen out. She's there, you know. And I wish I could be there physically with her because she just lost her father. Oh. But, you know, I try to check on her, you know, as much as I can. And then she just got married in October too. So, you know, we have some celebrating to do. So I have to, you know, I still have to get her a gift and some things, but we definitely got to get out there. But she is definitely my number one fan.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Then they also offer constructive feedback. Mm-hmm. Constructive feedback. If your friend seeks your advice or input, provide them constructive feedback and in a non-judgmental manner. See, I try to be that friend. I try to be as honest with you as possible, especially if I know situations that you're going through. And if I say something, it's because I want to help you and I want you to be the best person. It doesn't mean that I'm attacking you. I'm trying to make sure you're making the best decision for you. But if you want to take it as if I'm being rude or something, that's something that you have to work on within you. But I'm the type of friend that's going to be honest. You know, I'm the type of friend that wants the best for you. And if you don't want me to be honest with you, then I'm not the friend for you.
Yeah, that's I get criticized. I've had friends, like, for example, tell me the truth when I'm like, oh, do you think I'm a little fat or chubby? They're like, yeah, you look fat. Like, you look like... You know, when people are kind of blunt with me, I've been a very blunt person. So I'm not surprised when people are blunt with me. So I've had definitely criticism. But sometimes I'm like, it's okay with me. I'm not tripping. People are like, oh, my God, you made them feel whatever. I don't give a damn. Tell me.
I had this
so I can go to the
conversation.
gym.
I had that conversation with one of my friends. She told me the way that I said something to somebody else may have been too harsh or something like that. So I had this one friend that when we were in modeling, somehow it came up of, being sexually abused and stuff like that. So she was talking to me and asking me questions, and she asked me, how did I handle it? And I was like, you just got to get over it. And she was like, that was rude and that was being mean. No, it's not. You do have to just get over it. Like, you have to work on the things and get over it. You can't just stay in the situation.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that was being rude. It was just being truthful.
I think sometimes people take things differently just based off of experience. Because
or how they're feeling in that moment.
Yeah, because I said something once, and maybe it was being inconsiderate, but so I'm going to explain the situation. There was this.
Before you say that, I can say that I said that, from experience too, because I have been sexually abused.
Right.
So I didn't just sit in the emotion. I had to figure out how I was feeling and get over it.
Right.
Because if I sat in it, it was going to fester, Mm-hmm. And that's just how I felt. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say there was a young lady I used to work with years ago, and her and I had what was like a work relationship and expanded outside of it. And she had gotten pregnant and experienced a miscarriage. And at this time, I already had my son. I think he was like 2 or 3. And, she was very upset about it. And I was apologetic with her. I said, I'm sorry you're going through this. It's very terrible. But what I also said is that things happen for a reason, and maybe that God was just trying to prepare you for something or let you know something. And, you're not put anything that you can't handle on you.
Right.
I think she took offense to what I said, because she never spoke to me again after what I said. I was like, damn, she was still Facebook friends with me. And I actually introduced her to one of my guy friends who she had dated for a second, and she would like and kind of comment under his post over the years. And she stopped. Now she ended up getting pregnant again. And having a baby with the same guy, so there's another child, but I think she took extreme offense to what I said to her. And I think she felt it was insensitive. And I said it just the same way I said it right now. But, sometimes people take things the way what you say, and it hurts,
Yeah.
They just don't like it.
And so I had this situation happen with a friend a few weeks ago. She was telling me and another friend something, and I said something, and I was just trying to be like a good friend. I was trying to make sure, she was doing the right thing and not just making like an impulse decision. And she took it as me being rude, and that's not how I meant it at all.
Right.
So, I was just like, what do I do? Do I keep being that honest friend, or do I limit how I feel, in conversations? And I'm like, I can't limit how I feel, because that won't be me. I have to continue being the person I am and just let you know how I feel. And it's up to you to take it how I meant it, because I'm not meaning any ill will towards you or anything like that.
Right.
And I just felt like she may have been already hearing some things from other people, and I kind of said the same thing. And so me being your friend, I'm supposed to, have your back and everything, but I am having your back. I'm trying to make sure you're doing the right thing. So yeah, I get it. And I understand.
Right. I actually had an example from like childhood friends and like good friends. Like a really good friendship I've seen was between my son's uncle on his dad's side. So his dad's brother, and his friends that he grew up with. So I've known my son's uncle since he was 17. That's when I started dating his dad was when his brother was around 17. So I've kind of watched him grow up in the later years of life, or that's, when I met him. And now he's an adult, and, he invited, a couple years ago, he invited myself and my son to be a part of the wedding, or to be in the wedding, and my son be the ring bearer at the wedding. And I thought that was so sweet because, even though I'm no longer with the father of my son, they still extended that invitation because that's how much they care about my son. So he was the ring bearer, and the relationship I saw between his uncle and his friends, his groomsmen, was very sweet because they got married in Austin, Texas, him and his wife. They met in El Paso, and she was actually going to Texas A&M here in San Antonio. And they met because her family lives in El Paso, and they're like right down the street. They crossed paths somehow, and they were dating back and forth, and he would drive to San Antonio to come be with her sometimes. That's an 8-hour drive from El Paso. So it's very like dedication and like love.
That's part of this next one, which is spending quality time together, making an effort to spend quality time with your friends and engage in activities.
Right.
And creating memories. Like all that comes together, you have to want to spend time with each other and do things. Otherwise, how are you creating memories,
Right.
And so,
right. And I thought that was beautiful too, because he's all the way from Florida, and then his groomsmen came from Florida to come to Texas.
Look at them making an effort.
Yeah, because they've known him since he, in high school, middle school. So those are the friends that, I feel like that's a good friendship right there.
Yeah.
And even the friendship that I have with my son's extended family, they see me as family. That's a friendship bond too,
Right. And you also have to be honest and authentic, even if it means having those difficult conversations. I know my friend in Virginia, whenever me and my boyfriend are having an issue or whatever, and I call and I talk to her,
right.
She doesn't just tell me what I want to hear. She always, in all actuality, she doesn't have my side. She has his side. Like if she's going to have somebody's back, you always expect your friend to have your back. She has his back because she always tries to make sure that I'm seeing the things that he's doing or trying to do, and not always be so, well, he should have did this because you wanted him to. Like, no, she makes me see like the right and wrong, and we have those conversations, and I appreciate her for that because not everybody is like that. It'd be like, girl, I wouldn't let him treat me like this, or if I told him to do this and he didn't do it, I would leave. So you need the ones that's going to actually be honest with you and authentic and tell you the truth.
That's the 100% truth.
And also, they need to show appreciation, and not just, with gifts or anything like that. It's okay for me. I'm a gifter, and I like to get my friends things for birthdays, holidays, things like that. So if we're friends, if I have like art, because I like to do art, I'll give you one of those paintings. Or if you said you like something, I'll try to pay attention and get you that. That's one way I show appreciation. Or if like you need something, I try to be always there for you in that way. Or if it's been a while or anything, sometimes I'll reach out to people and just to know, I'm thinking about you, or like my doctor's leaving. And so I wrote him a letter to let him know how much I appreciate the things that he's done for me, because he's the only person, he's the only doctor since I've been here in Austin that has been trying to help me figure out what's wrong with me. So writing him a letter and letting him know that I appreciate him. Getting my friends gifts on Christmas, that's just showing them I appreciate them. And I told them they didn't have to get me anything in return. This is how I operate in my love language, So that's some of the things I think a friend should do. That's just some things I think.
That's funny you were talking about appreciation, because I have a story about not being appreciated. I was young. When I was younger, I did a lot of things for people, like things that I did not get in return. And not that I needed to, but it was the ungratefulness behind there. And the example that I have, I think I was 19, maybe 20, something like that. And when I was doing my internship, they were giving us housing at the same time. And basically, one of the girls that was a friend, but it was kind of off and on situation, she got terminated. And when she got terminated, I no longer was an intern. I actually worked for the company at that point, got hired from that point, but she was an intern at that time, and she was living on property, and she had gotten fired. When you get fired, they give you like 24 hours to vacate their the housing units too. So she had nowhere to go and all this other stuff. So I felt bad for her, and I decided to go ahead and ask my ex-fiance, who I no longer was living with, that I asked him if it was okay if she could store her stuff at his place. Okay. Mind you, he had a 1-bedroom, but he was able to put her stuff in boxes on the balcony because she lived in like a dorm room setup.
Yeah.
And I orchestrated that for her while she tried to figure out what she needed to do. I also helped her go and try to appeal for her job, even though I was supposed to be hanging out with my then boyfriend, so I'm involving exes and I'm supposed to be hanging out with boyfriends, and I'm doing a lot for her, only for her to like start breaking down and crying to say that no one cared for her and no one was helping her out. And I was like, wow, like, I feel like I'm doing so much. And even after she had her breakdown, I even was the one who, eventually my ex-fiance, no problem. My ex-fiance, he called and was like, you need to get her stuff out of my house. It was like a week and a half later, but I was like, I understand. So we figured out like what to do with her stuff. And I even took her to drop her off at the Greyhound bus station. And she still felt like nobody was there for her.
All right, and that's what brings me into our next topic. Things you shouldn't do as a friend, or things you should do to avoid having an unhealthy relationship. And one of those things is betraying trust. I know you was talking about your story, but it just got me to thinking about the friendship that I had with this one girl. So she and I were best friends. We did everything together. And all of a sudden I started working for her, and I was working there for almost a year, and I needed to have back surgery. And so once I had back surgery, I was thinking about going somewhere else. I wanted to do something else. And so she still wanted me to work for her. But when I was working for her, I was working overtime. I was working other people's shifts.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. I would go in at 3 o'clock maybe, or just say if I went in that morning for somebody else and still work my shift, which is what had to be there maybe 3 to 10, and then mine 10 to 7. That's a long time. And mind
that's abuse.
I'm a mobile phlebotomist, so I'm driving from different cities.
You're taking people's blood?
Yes, I'm a nurse.
Oh my gosh.
I'm working at a nursing home, and I'm driving to these different places, and I'm driving my car on top of that.
You're putting your miles on your vehicle.
Yeah. So
this needs to be a tax write-off.
I'm working for her, and I'm doing all this. And then when it's time for me to get a raise, because I decided to go part-time and not continue to work there, she told them that I didn't need a raise.
That's terrible.
I
would have offered any friend a raise.
I got one, but it was 3 cents. 3 cents. What I'm going to do with 3 cents?
You go to the union for this.
And she knew, she knew why I was trying to get a different job and more money and all this. And I was trying to work on my credit and all this. And then you decide to tell them that I don't need a raise. But I've done all this work for you, and I didn't have to. Your other employees wasn't going to do the work that I did. But okay, fine. That you broke the trust that I had. And so we haven't been that close. Since I've been here, I don't think I've talked to her. So yeah.
That's betrayal of trust.
Yeah. Disrespecting boundaries. Yes. Your friends need to respect your boundaries and personal space. Lack of communication. There has been so many issues with friends. It's just like communication. I've texted a friend the other day because I was in need of something, and she looked at it, and you can see that it said red, and she didn't respond. So the next day I was like, you know what? Never mind. And I'm the type of person, I already hate asking people for things.
Right.
But if I ask you for something, it's because I'm in desperate need. I obviously am in dire need of whatever I'm asking for. Otherwise, I wouldn't ask. And she just didn't respond. And I'm just like, okay.
No, don't ignore. Don't have your read receipts on if you're going to ignore people.
Ignore. And then text back a few days later, I hadn't heard from you in a while. Are things good? No, things aren't good. Like, when I needed you, you wasn't there. And like, I really needed you. You could have said, no, I can't do this, or whatever the situation. You could have just said no. But to ignore me, I hate that. I hate that. Being judgmental. And that sounds like the story you was telling was your friend. She was being a little judgmental and not accepting of the things that you were doing.
Yeah, the friend I had who I helped her with a lot of stuff, she also was like, oh, are you slow? Are you, that's so stupid, blah, blah, blah. And it's crazy because a lot of people used to tell me like, hey, we can hang out, but don't invite her. And I was thinking to myself, for someone who be talking down to me, people are telling me things about you that they don't like, you know?
Yeah.
So it's ironic.
I try not to be judgmental of my friends. I try not to judge like their lifestyles or anything, because who am I to judge anyone? I'm not God, so I can't do that.
Exactly. I feel the same way.
Neglecting their friends. Ooh, Jesus.
I've done that before, not on purpose, but sometimes when you're so focused on your own life, you kind of put people to the wayside and not really communicate. But I've also been on the receiving end of that, where it really wasn't, it was a different reason, like, than what life getting in the way. It's just more selfish reasons.
I feel like I'm always that friend that's getting neglected.
Aww.
I go up above and beyond for my friends. But like I said, I'm always reaching out and checking on people and seeing how they're doing. But there's only a select few people that actually check on me.
Right.
I have friends. I have friends that I thought were friends, you know, from when I moved to Little Rock, when they were there, that I hadn't talked to. They may say something on like social media, but actually reaching out to see how I'm doing, no. Have I been doing it to them? No, because I'm normally the one that does it. So when you're that person and you get tired of being that friend.
Yeah, because you now feel like you're kind of a bugaboo. Like, no one's really putting the interest. The other person's not putting the interest right back into it. So you're like, why am I dedicating that time? And I would say I was that person too. I kind of stopped after, like, I had my son. My priorities kind of changed a little bit because personal things were coming up that were causing me to realize, like, people ain't really shit. And it's not that they ain't shit. It's just they got shit going on too. And then you realize you're not valued.
Everybody has things going on. But when they're going through their things, you're there for them. But when you're going through your things, no one's there. It's a little one-sided.
Exactly. It is one-sided. You need someone who's there for you when you're literally on, like, you have nothing. And I've been that friend, and I've had a few friends kind of there for me, but at the same time, it was because they were in the same boat around the same time. You know, like they were kind of going through it too.
I've had friends, like I have this one friend that me and her have stopped talking so many times because of lack of communication and neglecting the friendship. I'm always the one that would go over their house, the one that invites them to do stuff, the only one that texts or calls or anything. Like, we've stopped being friends so many times, and she'll ask me, well, you know, can we make up? Can we be friends again? I'll do better.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. And why should I keep allowing you back in my life if I'm telling you what I need as a friend and you're not giving it to me?
Right.
It's not that I'm like a demanding or all this. It's my love language, it's my friendship language. And if you can't, and my boundaries. And if you can't accept my boundaries, why am I letting you in? Like, it's not that hard to send a text message every once in a while. Hey, how are you doing?
Right.
Are you okay? I know we hadn't talked, but I just wanted to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
I do that, you know? So I know it don't take much. All right. Being reliable. Unreliable. Being unreliable. You need somebody that's reliable. And if they say they're going to do something, they need to do it. They don't need to show up late. They don't need to not follow through.
And they need to communicate if they're not going to follow through. So, you know, if it's something like, hey, you know what, I said I could help you for this thing, but I'm so sorry, like something came up or it's an emergency, at least let me know so I'm not sitting there wondering where you're at when I could have asked somebody else for help.
Right. Like when I said showing up late, if they're going to be late, let you know. Or if it's something that y'all have planned together and they need to be there, they need to schedule where they're not running late.
Right. Responsibility, accountability.
Yes. And then lastly, gossiping or spreading rumors. Anybody that's in your circle doesn't need to be talking crap about you. That's not healthy at all. And that's not a good friendship.
No, it's not. I've actually had some people where I've heard say some things kind of back to me, or, you know, what's crazy is I've actually had someone say something to me admitting what they said behind my back. And I was like, I don't know if that's a good quality or a bad quality. The fact that you even like told me, or the fact that you did it and then told me, like, do you think it's okay because that you did it, but then you admitted to it? So it's like, at least you were honest, but the fact that you still did it just kind of makes me weary of friendship.
So the type of person I am, I can forgive anybody. Like if you really mean that you're sorry and you can work through it. So I used to be married, and somebody that I was close to ended up sleeping with my ex-husband, thinking that I had slept with their husband.
That's
Nothing
awful.
happened. I was living 9 hours away, unless their husband had a transparent teleport. I can't even get it out. A penis that could teleport. There is no way we could have sex.
It sounds like an excuse.
But so basically, we end up making up.
Oh no.
Me and her actually made
really
up.
Forgiving. Sorry.
I mean, but I am.
That's very kind of you.
Because she was my friend, and I mean, I have no ill will toward her.
You were her friend. She was not your friend. Let's get that straight.
The one time when we were having an argument, she thought that her son was my husband's son at the time.
Whoa.
But she didn't tell me. I found that
now my brain's not like everything. Just
girl,
I
found a text message in his phone one day, and that's how I found out about all this. Like, not
that's
that she
awful.
came to me, is that I found it in his phone, and I'm like, oh wow. And it just went from there. But that
made me not want to let no lady around my man ever again. Even my new man. It's like, damn, like I can't trust you. Like y'all meet at one occasion, you better not find her on no damn social media.
And see, that's like my friend. It's my friend in Arkansas. Me and her boyfriend aren't friends. Now we've been friends with each other, significant other, whatever, but she decided to tell him not to accept anybody's friend request. And like, what was weird was I found out that they was together. Me and her was supposed to go shoot pool, and instead of it just being me and her, she brought this guy, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then they said something about girlfriend and boyfriend. I'm like, oh, that's nice for me to know. You know, you just show up with this guy. But now they're married. You know, they have a baby. Yeah. I wish them the best.
Yeah.
And
I've had a friend where, okay, so I had a friend where I felt like it was an exception. She and like I knew her for years, and then we used to have little parties, and she actually met her boyfriend at a party that we had because of a guy that I was seeing, and he brought him over. So that ends up, fast forward later, that ends up being her baby daddy. And there we had group chats, like the three of us, or sometimes I would hit him up just to look for her. But it wasn't like, it was never on some weird stuff. Like it was definitely on some, like, we are all like friends and we're cool. But
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, nowadays it's very hard to find those type of friendships. So I tend to steer away from it because that was one of those like one-offs, like, oh, we're all just cool and no one's going to turn around and sleep with your man type stuff.
And like I said, I'm not that type of person. I don't even look at my, friends' men, that it doesn't interest me at all. Now, if we ain't friends, I'm just playing. No.
You're so silly.
But no, it's crazy. Friendships mean a lot. You can't just say that we're friends and then you do something like that. If I call you my friend, I actually consider you that, and we in it for life. I mean, you're just like a sister or a brother to me. Yeah, I go to war for you. Right. One of my best friends is my boyfriend's cousin. I met my boyfriend because of her. I've known her for over 10, 20 years now. Okay. I ride for her. She funny story. We were at the gas station and we were door dashing one day, and she went in to get something, and this crackhead hit her. And swung at her or whatever, talking about, because she was going crazy in the store. Like, I was sitting in the car doing a resume or something, my modeling resume, matter of fact. And then they had ended up coming outside, and I looked up, and I thought that the woman was, getting something out of her hair because she was holding her hair. And then I heard her was like, "Bitch, let me go." No. Oh my, no, they're fighting. So I get out, and now I'm not a fighter, but I will fight. But also, COVID was going around too. So I saw blood on her face. So oh no. The first thing I did was look for a good spot that didn't have no blood on it, because I was like, blood, AIDS, crackhead, all shit going through my head. So I found a spot and I smacked the shit out of her. She was like, "Ooh." And I was like, "Yeah." And so she was like, "Ooh." And I was like, "Yep, hurt, didn't it?" And she was like, she looked at me and acted like she was going to hit me and grabbed my hair. So I snatched my wig and stuff off. I was like, "Nah, bitch, you're not just to hit me." So I went ahead, I hit her again, but she let her go. Yes. And then we went on by our way. But I'm like, I got her back. You're not just supposed to have my friend up there looking crazy and I not do nothing. So, but that's not the only little altercation we done got in together, but I'm not going to go in those details. But yeah, that's my rider. That's what friends are for.
Looking to have great memories captured in time for you to see whenever you like? Want wonderful photos for any occasion? Then contact Christina for all your unforgettable moments you want to cherish forever. You can go to her Instagram page with Rain and Light, and in her bio she states from Austin, Texas to wherever you are. You can also go to her website, www.withrainandlight.com, and get started with your memories today.
Welcome to Am I the Asshole? This is the place where individuals come to seek guidance and opinions on their actions, seeking to understand that they may have acted inappropriately, or if they are justified in their behavior. Here we encourage open and respectful discussions. We aim to provide constructive feedback and give a different perspective. So if you're looking for a judgment-free zone to reflect on your actions and seek advice, you've come to the right place. So let's dive in and explore the complexities of human interactions together. Welcome to Am I the Asshole?
All right, and welcome back to our segment of Am I the Asshole? And this one is titled, Am I the Asshole for Not Wanting to Follow My Sister in Law's Rules for Her Wedding and Saying Her Insecurities Aren't My Fault?
Ooh.
Right? I'm female 27, and my brother, male 34, and his fiance, female 31, are getting married soon. My husband and I got our invitation, all fine. However, this is the problem I'm having with them. I'm not a bridesmaid in the bridal party because I have a baby, and she's very young, 4 months now. And I was either pregnant with a newborn during most of the wedding planning. It was for the best. So I'm just a regular guest as everyone else, right?
Right.
Well, my brother and his fiance came over a few days after they sent the invitations because they wanted to talk to me. My future sister in law basically told me that she had gotten a dress for me and she'd love for me to wear it for the wedding.
Mm.
I was kind of like, okay, thanks, but why? You know? At first, she didn't want to tell me why they chose a dress for me, but finally, she told me that I tended to draw too much attention to me. Last year, our brother got married, and my future sister in law thinks that she doesn't want to risk having me show up similarly to their wedding. By the way, I wasn't wearing an inappropriate dress or white, anything like that. I was wearing a normal, formal dress. I was very confused by this, and I asked what she meant because I said I know how to dress for a wedding. I reassured her she shouldn't worry about me outshining her because, for starters, it's her wedding day and everyone will be paying attention to the bride and groom. And secondly, I won't wear an inappropriate dress with too much cleavage or something. Her family is rather conservative, so I thought maybe she was more scared of her family's reaction. We discussed this for a while, and she told me that the problem is my weight. She's a little overweight, and I'm not. Always had problems gaining weight, even while pregnant. So
So
she
the
feel
problem is her weight, not the bride's weight.
yes.
Okay,
So
just had to clarify.
she feels insecure, and that's why she wants me to wear a dress that will cover me completely.
Oh
This
wow.
this is where I think I might be the asshole. I told her that her insecurities were not my problem, and that it's weird for her to ask me to wear a certain dress because I'm skinnier than her. She told me that she knew I'd have this reaction because supposedly I always wanted to be the focus of attention. She also said that my life has always been easier and it's not fair that I want to steal her wedding day as well. I
No.
asked her if she was doing this with every other woman who was skinnier attending the wedding, and she said no. So I told her that's a shitty move. We argued, and then my husband and brother got into it between us. So they got in between us, so they argued as well. And finally, we kicked them out, but not before I told them to enjoy their damn day because I wasn't attending the wedding, for which they accused me of being a drama queen and wanting to embarrass them by not going. Well, I'm more calm now. What she said, I'm more calm. This has caused quite a fight in our family as well. I admit that I was so tired and stressed that day because my baby had been sick all the prior day and night. So I don't know. Do you think I exaggerated here, or were they truly rude to ask me something like this?
I can't believe that with all the quote unquote body positivity folks that were feeling some type of way that the your brother's sister, right,
Mm-hmm.
looks better or what you perceive looks better than you. First off, you're marrying her brother. You're not marrying like somebody that you guys are both trying to date. So I don't see this being like an issue. I personally look, I'm gonna say something and it's not gonna be for the faint of heart. If you have an issue with something, maybe you should take it upon yourself to maybe take some life changes, fitness
Right.
changes, self goals.
You know
I
how
don't.
long you should have
Mhm.
planned the wedding a, in enough time to give you the opportunity to lose weight if you felt so uncomfortable with the way you
Right.
looked that you needed to go and buy this woman a dress so that
Right.
you're not feeling a certain way about your body, but yet you didn't go buy a dress for all the other skinny people that's going to be there.
Right. Come on. Preach. It, her body must be banging.
Now, and then if she's just wearing a cocktail dress, a normal formal dress, it's not her fault that it may fit or hug her a certain way. And black women, I don't know what color they are, but black women or women whose shape a little different than others in the nursing field or teachers, they always tend to get body shamed when their clothing fit them tighter or snugger than everyone else. Why don't you get bigger clothes? Why don't you this? It's not their fault that they are shaped like this. Or maybe it is their fault and they worked out to get the body that they desire. And the
Right.
clothes just happen to fit them the way they're supposed to. Now, if you go out
Hmm.
and do what they did, you wouldn't be so insecure.
Honestly, you wouldn't, but you're right.
I know how I look in the mirror. I know how I feel about myself. I'm not going to let how I feel dictate on what you should wear.
No, I wouldn't either.
Like whenever we do a video or we finally go audio visual and they're able to see us, what I wear does not depend on what you're wearing.
No,
Besides us
we just
coordinating,
coming in. Yeah, like we just come in and just do our thing. Like
but
it's not even a problem.
I'm not gonna tell you not to wear something because I feel like you may look better than me or something like that. That's stupid.
I couldn't even fathom getting that out of my mouth.
Or if I'm getting married, I'm telling you, okay, I will say the only thing I'm gonna tell you, maybe don't wear white or something like
Or
that.
like if the bridesmaids have to coordinate those, or like, like please get a dress that's this XYZ color. Or
Yes.
if you're getting a dress for, you need to get dresses for all of the people in the bridal party
But
so everyone
she's not
matches.
even in the bridal party. She was just a
And I
regular
think she did
guest.
say that, right? Because the
Yeah,
baby
she's just
thing.
a regular guest. So if you're
Yeah, it's
dictating what she
ludicrous.
wear, you need to dictate what every other guest wears. And any
Exactly.
other skinny person you need to get what they're wearing, a photo of what they're wearing before the wedding and everything, because
Right.
you cannot just single her out. And I wouldn't have won either.
Yeah. She's doing too much. I sorry, I didn't mean to go ham in on the situation, but she
N-
really is doing too much.
No, I didn't either. It got me a little heated because I mean, I'm not big and I'm not skinny, but
Right.
I have people that may be a little bigger than I am, and I
Hmm.
may like the way they fit. They may be toner than I am, so the clothing look better
Right.
than them.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go up to them and okay. So just for instance, when we went to Vegas for Halloween, one of my
Yes.
friends is a little bigger than I am. She's shorter, but she's a little bigger.
Right.
And the way that her clothes fit her was really nice. And I told her, I like your body shape. And she was like, girl, please. I'm complimenting because I wish that my curves and everything was like that. I'm not gonna
Right.
hate on somebody because they look better. No, I'm gonna compliment you.
Man, if I was her and I was that uncomfortable, like the bride to be,
Hmm.
d- like do something where it's not obvious, like sit her in the back or something.
Man, no. How about you go get on Jenny Craig? You go do a workout. You stop putting that fork to your mouth. There are so many things that you could do besides going to the store and buy her a dress to make her feel bad about her body. No,
Right.
no.
I just can't. Like right now, I mean, I'm feeling a little frumpy because, I just had a baby and everything, but I don't look at the next person and be like, oh, I'm just so jealous of you. I'm like, no, I need to get my butt in the gym,
Girl,
stop
me
eating these
too.
late night sandwiches and,
Girl,
drinking sodas and
me
stuff
too.
like that.
I'm feeling frumpy too. I had a baby 22, 22 years ago, and I'm feeling it.
She said 21.
I'm feeling this baby fat girl. Like it just won't go nowhere. I'm like, shoot, I done had it for like 20 something years now, and it just won't go. No.
I'm like, no, you're quite thin.
And see, that's an issue I have with myself. Like I'm actually kind of small, but when I
Hmm.
look in the mirror, I see my stomach and I think I'm big.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I had that same concept when I was thinner, and
yeah, it's
I
not
done
really,
gained like 40 pounds from having
it's
a
not
baby, and
really,
now I
but
see.
they call some of it like body dysmorphia. I don't
Yeah,
have that. I just
right.
know I have a little gut, and I actually need to work on that. But
Yeah,
yeah, back on that. No, honey, you're not the asshole. Your sister-in-law, and for your brother to be okay with that.
say something. Like,
Like,
obviously they didn't have a
talk to
great
your wife.
relationship, you know?
Talk to your wife.
Right.
Sweetie, I don't think that's right. I mean,
Mm.
and you going into that, those are two red flags on both of y'all. You for allowing the bullshit, and her for thinking it. And y'all
Mhm.
just, that
Because
just
what
tells.
other things that she's gonna try to control when it comes to his family?
Exactly. And it's not even just like that. It's like how they're going to raise their kids. What are
Mhm.
those kids going to come up, um, trying to
Demanding
be
from people.
privileged? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's where I believe like a lot of white privilege and other things. I don't know what race they are. So, but that's
Right.
where most of it comes from because of the parents. They feel like they're so obligated. And then it just trickles down to the kids. And
Right.
yeah. But no, sweetie, I don't think you're the asshole. Your brother needs therapy. Your wife, your future sister-in-law needs therapy.
Right.
Yeah, honey, bless your heart. But
Amen.
that concludes the Am I the Asshole section. And our next section will be music with Lady Roscoe.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
What's going down with it, man? It's your boy Big Tone P, Mail Route Entertainment in the building, you know what I'm saying? Y'all go follow me on IG, big_tone_P, and Big Tone P on YouTube. Go like and subscribe to their channel. Shout out to Yoko Camille and Lady Roscoe. Not Your Average Podcast, man. Shout out. Much love, you know what I'm saying? Peace.
And this is Music with Lady Roscoe, where we talk about current, past, and present music, entertainment, just for the best of ears. In today's music segment, we'll be talking about how friendship is portrayed in media, including music, TV, movies, and literary. Enjoy! So we're going to talk about how friendship is portrayed in music. Songs that celebrate friendship include Lean on Me by Bill Withers, I'll Be There For You by the Rembrandts, With a Little Help from My Friends by the Beatles, Count on Me by Bruno Mars, Wind Beneath My Wings by Bette Midler, and You've Got a Friend by James Taylor. These songs capture the essence of friendship and the importance of being there for one another through thick and thin. Friendship-themed songs often convey a theme of loyalty, support, and camaraderie. They celebrate the bond between friends and the idea of standing with each other through the ups and downs. These songs serve as a reminder of the importance of having good friends who can provide comfort, encouragement, and a sense of belonging. The melodies and the lyrics of these songs invoke warmth, nostalgia, and gratitude for cherished friendship in our lives. Listening to these songs can invoke memory and experiences, and it can strengthen the connections that we have with our friends. These friendship-themed songs can often resonate with the listeners because it invokes universal experiences and emotions that relate to their friendships. The lyrics in these songs can be uplifting, comforting, and inspiring, making them a source of solace and a joy for many people. Music has a power of bringing people together, and it creates a sense of unity. These friendship-themed songs, they play a significant role in fostering a sense of connection and empathy amongst the listeners. Whether it be sing along to your favorite friendship anthem with your friends or finding solace in lyrics during a time of need, songs tend to hold a special place in our hearts and remind us of the beauty of true friendship. Friendship is a common theme portrayed in various forms of media, including movies, TV shows, books, and music. Here are some instances where friendship is prominently featured. Movies. Movies like Toy Story showcase the power of friendship through the bond between Woody and Buzz Lightyear. There's also Harry Potter. Harry Potter has a friendship between Harry, Ron, and Hermione is the central to the story's narrative and the themes of loyalty and bravery. There's TV shows like Friends and How I Met Your Mother. They revolve around friendship of more of a close-knit group of characters, highlighting the ups and downs of relationships and the importance of supporting and camaraderie. Books. So you've got literary books like The Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of the Ring demonstrates the strength of friendship in overcoming adversity and achieving a common goal. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants explores the enduring friendship of four young women as they navigate through life's challenges. And basically, these girls are best friends, and now they're going to separate and grow up and go to different places in the world. And they all decide to wear the same pair of jeans. Like, for some reason, the same pair of pants fit each other, and so these pants travel to each individual girl and explains their story with these pants. All these girls are different sizes, but these jeans just magically fit and bond the friendship. So it's a very good book, and if you don't want to read the book, there's definitely the movie that had came out. I think there was a few of them that also correlated with the books somewhat. These examples show how friendship is compelling and relatable, that resonates with audiences across all forms of media, highlighting the value of genuine connections and the impact of friendship in our lives. So I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of friendship talk, and thank you for listening.
Today I just wanted to talk about some things that are going on in like the music entertainment world. Have you been hearing what's going on with Chris Brown?
I have. I
How you
have.
been?
Okay, so if y'all don't know, Chris has put out that, he was supposed to play in the NBA All-Star game, celebrity game or whatever, and they decided to take that back. But then the NBA says that they decided to not do it because of some of their sponsors, and one of them being Ruffles. And Ruffles state that they had nothing to do with that. And I think they said they hosted last year's game, so it wasn't on them. But regardless whose fault it was, I don't care or don't know why they're still holding on to something that happened how many years ago?
At this point, this is before my son was born, or maybe when
Like
he was like a
20
baby.
something years ago?
Yeah.
How do you expect someone to grow, change, be a better person if you are steady trying to hold them back?
I know you can't really this time frame for accountability is crazy, because even after the incident, like, it was awful. No one should these couples shouldn't really be putting their hands on each other at all. It's not acceptable. But
Mm-hmm.
After the incident, you see them on, and it's not exactly after the incident, probably like a year or two afterwards. There's photos of them together on
Mm-hmm.
yachts. They did a song together, that cake song, that
Mm-hmm.
cake, 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 cake. And then I think she did an interview with Oprah, like a sit down on a couch,
Yeah.
where she's talking about him fondly, that she still cares and that she was deeply in love with him. And with all of that happened, she seemed to have moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't everyone else move on too? It's like they're holding on to something that she's apparently has let go, but people don't want to see that. I think people are still sitting on the image of her beat up face in their head. I think they're holding on to that.
Yeah. I mean, and then, okay, so I'm not trying to put down the fact that he did hit her or whatever the case. But were we there? Do we know all the facts? What did she do? Did she try to hit him and kick him first, like he said? And was it in self-defense, even though he took it too far? I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there. No, he probably shouldn't, punched her in the face. I've been in violent relationships. I know how it works. So
I
I
don't know.
don't want to say that she may have provoked him, but it's possible. I don't want to victim blame either, but we don't know all the details.
Supposedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but this was a article that wrote basically stating that he admitted he was being unfaithful and Rihanna found out, and
Mm-hmm.
she decided to take his phone and throw it. I don't know if it was at him or around, but he said that she started hitting him and they're in a Lamborghini, so it's a very small car, and he said the last thing he really remembers is that she tried to kick him, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's when he just snapped. Like, like you're kind of attacking me in this little car, and what do you think I'm supposed to do? Like, I think people forget that we biologically are made different. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
just because someone's holding back with grace doesn't mean you can overpower them. That night he definitely showed her, I am a man, I have muscles, I am stronger than you, and you kind of poked the bear and I
So
snapped.
I just found an old article from 2017, and he was
Hmm.
like, my trust totally was lost with her, Brown said. She hated me after that. I tried everything. She didn't care. She just didn't trust me after that. From there, it just went downhill because there were too many verbal fights, physical fights as well, mutual sides. We would fight each other. She would hit me, I would hit her, and it never was okay. So and that's what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Everybody only sees what he did to her. They never
Right.
seen the things that she did to him.
Hmm.
I'm not saying either one was right, but we're putting all this on one person when it was both of them.
I kind of feel like it's that thing of kind of the black big black man type stereotype, him
Yeah.
beating up the woman. There are
Mm-hmm.
certain cases where people like let stuff go, but like I feel like that's where they're holding him accountable. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, a lot his career still thrives. There were some other people who stated like, okay, sometimes maybe it's the past with Rihanna doesn't help, but the fact that he argues with women online, kind of catty and back and forth, like him and Tinashe go back and forth and some other stuff. He's just someone who doesn't really hold his tongue. And
And
maybe if he kind of dialed it back and realized people are still seeing him in a certain light,
no,
you know?
no. I mean, you can't just completely live your life for other people. If people gonna steady badmouth you, you have every right to defend yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, it's the difference between like academics who always argue with women and everything.
Yeah,
It's
he got
totally
his foot
different.
on Carisha's neck for some reason.
Like he is a little sassy. He's always arguing with women. I think
Mhm.
Chris argues with everybody. He has the same energy towards everyone. It's just not him just out there bashing women.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's had any real trouble since then.
No, no. The only thing that kind of came out was when he was dating Karuchi, and I guess she had to like, put some boundaries. I'm not sure if it was like a restraining order, but he kind of became obsessive with their relationship after they broke up.
Yeah.
But I think that has to do with maybe his like maybe he has an addictive personality where sometimes
Yeah.
he cannot draw that line or difference for it. But when it comes to the whole Chris Brown and Rihanna thing, look,
Mm-hmm.
that happened back in 2009. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm not saying we should forget, but there are other things going on in the world right now that we could kind of be focusing on. And like I said before, if
If
she ain't
we,
tripping on it, I'm not tripping on it.
but it's like we can't keep blaming him the same way we said last week when we were talking about the young lady who was helping that homeless man. When
Hmm.
that woman came back 2 years later, You can't keep holding on to those things. If this person is trying to be a better person and improving, and yet you still want to hold them down for things that they did in their past and they're not
Right.
doing those now, then how is someone going to change? You got to let it go and get over it. Not even for them, but for you.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my take on them. I think they
Okay.
got to get over it. He's changed. He's been trying to improve himself, but
Right.
the media and other people on these big corporate businesses are just keep trying to hold him down.
Right. They're kind of like playing with his emotions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yet he's still thriving, you know. So yeah, good luck to Chris and everybody involved,
Right?
and keep making your bread. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
that's how I
I've
feel
always
about
been a
that.
Chris Brown fan, though.
Hmm. He does
Especially
make catchy tunes.
"Take You Down." I really want to take you down. Yeah, that was my shit right there.
I like the one
Yes.
song called Zero. Zero.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's a diss. It's basically like you think I'm thinking about you, but I'm not. But
Oh, okay.
in a way, it's like you are because you made the song, but it's still catchy. So
Right.
yeah, and what else I want to talk about was the whole like I heard Sexy Red when she gave birth because her new video dropped.
Congratulations. And
Right.
yeah, in Drake's video, Rich Baby Daddy.
Yeah, with SZA
Yeah.
supposedly. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
this is true or not, but supposedly she went into labor
She
while she
did.
was doing the video. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that's cute, you know.
So yeah, I saw her sitting on the bed, and I guess it was SZA was downstairs, and
Hmm.
she was on sitting on the bed, and she was on the phone or something, and then she just
Hmm.
started yelling, and then SZA ran up the stairs. But yeah, it was supposed to be. It was that's cute though. Like
Wait, I have a side note. Wouldn't it be crazy if Drake really was her baby daddy? Like, supposedly she claims it's some dude with dreads, but she's
the
always
dude.
joking that Drake is her baby daddy, you know?
I mean, I seen her on a picture with somebody when she was pregnant. She took some photos with.
Right. I saw
Um,
those photos
but
too.
is that the dude that's supposed to be locked up that she was saying free him?
No, that's her first baby daddy. Her first baby
Okay.
daddy is locked up because she has like a son or something.
Yeah.
And so this other guy, I didn't get to see his face because the pictures I saw, they like put happy faces over
Mm-hmm.
his face or
Yeah.
something. So I don't even know if that guy was a ploy, but I just thought it'd be comical if Drake. That probably why Drake goes so hard for her because he got her knocked up.
Well, like we were talking about the video, like there
Hmm.
would be, but like I was watching it, and so she was sitting on the bed, and SZA she ran up and started, packing her little bag, and they drove her to the hospital,
Right.
and this is all in the video, and
Yeah.
I think showing what we actually go through, which is not always documented, is
Yeah.
amazing. And so, the baby get to see in music video in real time how, his birth and everything came about. And just to be in a music video is amazing. And
Okay.
they finished it out in the hospital with her, you know.
Do you feel the same about Krishan when she filmed her birth and like when she had her baby in a music video at the church? Do you feel that's the same?
I didn't see that. I honestly
Okay.
didn't, so I can't say.
Okay. So she actually like live streamed her birth from on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram and I actually watched I just happened to be online when that happened. I was like, whoa, she's all the way giving birth on Instagram live. So because supposedly I guess Zeus was supposed to pay for this and do film, but she decided to just go live basically for free. And it was thousands of people watching her give birth. And then a few days later, she's taking the baby to a church and she filmed a music video, and a lot of people criticized her that the fact that the baby was literally like 2 days old and she already took him to a public place to film a music video.
I mean, the only thing about Sexy Red is like, of course, they busting it open in the hospital and everything, and the baby she
Right.
got ain't hers, but I believe it's a little doll. But
Right.
as a background, actress and all that, the clothes that they're wearing, I'm assuming they shut down that segment of the hospital doing
Hospital.
it, but you still in there with with your thong showing, your butt showing, but it's a persona, it's a character. You got to do what you got to do for the music
Right.
video,
Okay.
and but it's nice. I like it. It's for the girls.
I like the 90s aesthetic of the video.
Yeah,
That's
how
really where
they
it
keep
comes
going
from.
back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. And the song, like, okay, hear me out, right? So Sexy Red, in my opinion, would have been a very good parody artist. Like
Mhm.
when it kind like what I mean is like how a Weird Al used to be back
Yeah.
in the day. Like kind of like when she did her first song, The Thousand Miles. I think she
Okay.
really would have been, I think that field probably would have been interesting for her, for me to see her as like
So
as a
how do you think about this? So you said that. So me and my boyfriend was talking about her and stuff the other day,
right.
and he said he feels like her and Suki are industry plants. What do you think?
I don't think Sexy Red is an industry plant, and I don't think Suki is. Let me tell you why I don't think Suki is. And this
Okay.
is I'm gonna start with Suki. Suki is like, how do I explain this? She's like the best friend of the celebrity. So she's not quite the famous one. I see her a lot, but she's usually the person in the background. She
Yeah.
I don't feel like she has that much of an impression on the younger generation as a Sexy Red. Sexy Red, I feel like, does have more of an influence. I don't think she's technically an industry plant. I think she is maybe a distraction from certain things. And I guess some people would say that's industry plant, but
Mhm.
when I see industry plant, I feel that there's there's usually a longevity behind the push. I don't know how much of a longevity there is behind Sexy Red. Is she being pushed right now? Yes, and maybe it is for an agenda, but I don't
Mhm.
think it's for the long haul. I think
Yeah.
maybe the money and stuff that she's getting right now, as long and Sukihana, they should kind of get that, because I feel like they are they're being used, but not as an industry plant. I don't know how to
Okay.
explain it. It's not
No,
the
I get
same in
you.
my
I
mind.
get you.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
they're definitely being used for some type of agenda, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But like I said, like certain people who I feel like are industry plants are ones who are thriving, and they
Mhm.
definitely continue to thrive or continue to exceed expectations. So I feel like I would need to see Sexy Red a little bit longer in order to see her as an industry plant. And
Mhm.
then when it comes, I would say more of a Doja Cat is an industry plant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of how much it's like she's gotten such a hold on certain groups of people. Like there's certain, I used to follow her Instagram, but it became
Mhm.
a little gory for my opinion. I'm okay with gore, but I don't really want to see it on my timeline. And people are just like, "Oh, you are expressing your individuality," and oh,
Anybody
and
that they can see that can what's the word? Get other people to do what they're doing
mhm,
is basically what like an industry plant,
right.
you know. And she is someone like she went from being whatever to all this weird stuff, meowing all the time, and
Mhm.
it's like certain people, like even Lil Nas X,
Yeah, he might be one. He
him
might be one.
going from being gay and then being the antichrist, and it's just weird. It's weird, and I don't support them.
Yeah.
I was listening to Lil Nas X, but I'm I'm not a religious person
Right.
or a spirit like that, but I don't deal with the antichrist and the devil and stuff like that. So yeah,
Right.
I can't be listening to that.
Negative energy is still carried in places regardless of
Mhm.
how people feel on like religious views or spiritual views. There's still energy places, and
Yeah.
those type of songs hold what I feel is like low vibration,
Mhm.
and those sit on you. Like when you're sad and you're thinking, you used to sing sad songs growing up, and you would just be in that sad mood, and that's translating into your spirit. So I used to kind of be on like Lil Nas X too, like couple songs, but yeah, when it started to kind of trend differently, I steered away from that. And the same thing with Doja Cat too. Like I really liked her stuff in the beginning. Well, not her new stuff, but like when she first came out to us, when we were presented to her, I like that kind of stuff. And she like I allow people to be who they are, their individualities, but some things are not my taste or style. And that's where she's kind of turned. And the same thing goes for Sam Smith, in my opinion. I used to like listen to a lot of his stuff because it was like, you know, white boy R&B, you know, from the UK. And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I listened to him too. Yeah.
And then, you know, he started doing some interesting like videos. And I'm like, damn, like, why? I feel like, why is everyone feeling that we need to be so provocative? Like, and
I haven't listened to Sam Smith since when he was out with Stay. So,
yeah, he's definitely changed. With, you know, you can express yourself the way you want to, but you also have to respect that some people are not going to always be a fan of that.
And it's like they're always trying to push something on us. I don't know.
But we can get into that one on a different episode.
Definitely.
Maybe behind our paid walls.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
We'll get into that. That is all I have right now for the entertainment on this week.
All right. So our next episode is what, Around the World and Back?
Yep.
All right. So we'll see y'all over there. Welcome to Around the World and Back, where we talk about things that happened in the past and current events. Current events.
Sit back and enjoy the ride.
All right. Welcome to Around the World and Back.
Yes.
So I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
How would you feel about getting waxed by a 5-year-old?
That's not even an option.
Well, for about 24 women in Memphis, it was an option.
Oh dear.
I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
It's serious. Yeah, it's just like, well, it happened.
Yes. This mother in Memphis, Jasmine Moss, she goes by Jasmine D Miracles on Instagram. She boasted about how her daughter made 700 and some amount of dollars on Instagram by assisting her with waxing.
Yeah, I saw this online. It was very disturbing to me.
And when I say waxing, I'm not talking about face. I'm talking about bikini areas.
Yes.
So there was 24 adult females who were comfortable enough to lay down, spread their legs, and let a 5-year-old wax them.
I feel like we're so disconnected as people these days on what is right and what's wrong and the boundaries of certain things. I feel like we need to have a revamp of just a bunch of us.
Because, I mean, if it were 24 men, everybody would be in an uproar. Just because it's women doesn't mean that the uproar, the madness, everything should change. You should still have the same emotions that you would if it was a man. Because it's disgusting. In order for her to be good, she had to practice on somebody. So who did she practice on? Her mama?
Shoot, her patience apparently too. Like, okay, like if you let the girl shave armpits. Let her shave mustaches and eyebrows.
Let her start doing nails.
You know,
something like that.
else. You know, instead of the
just because
like
no, just because she has the female genitalia doesn't need to. She needs to see everybody else's.
Right. One of the pictures I saw was a lady on her back, and she was like holding her legs up with each hand underneath her thighs, but naked under like on the lower half, while the girl was just like going in. And I know that kids. Go ahead.
Before you say that, since you said you saw the picture, let me give this notice to anybody out there: do not search for those pictures. Do not, if you have them, do not share it with anybody else, because that's considered child porn. And the Child Protective Services and the services for neglect and exploited children are in works within the Memphis PD. And anybody who is sharing it or any of that, they will get you. So if you do have it or if you've seen it, please don't share it.
Right. Definitely saw. Well, and this is where I saw first I saw it on YouTube because someone did like a YouTube video, but they blurred out
Yeah.
the certain things. Then I
Mhm.
saw it on, I think, Instagram, because people are sharing it like
Mhm.
wild. It's going through like wildfire, and some of them
Mhm.
weren't blurred out. I haven't seen the child's face. I always see the back of the head, but like
Yeah.
what I'm seeing is she's near the kukukas or the
Mhm.
hoo-has, and all the goodies are just on display. Like, I understand children learn things early if you teach
Mhm.
them. Okay, you teach them to drive. Some of these country places that we live in, Texas, kids are driving early, like 10,
Mhm.
7. Okay,
I
that's
mean,
one thing. Or
I
like
learned how to drive
construction,
early.
you know?
I taught my son how to drive early. I get that.
Yeah. But
Those are
this is
different.
something else. Like, there are certain trades that, yes, your kid, like there's certain kids that are good at braiding hair early, being
Mhm.
an electrician. Like, you teach them, they get it.
Mhm.
Like, they get it. But this isn't it. This is not it.
At all.
No.
And for those ladies who let her do that, they need to be prosecuted as well.
Yeah, they requested a list of the clients. So those people are about to be in big trouble, especially because the FBI and child services are now involved.
How do you feel comfortable spreading your legs with a child there? There's something going on in your head, something wrong going on in your head.
I don't want someone's kid to see my privates.
I don't even want my own kids or somebody to see it. Like, no child should be
Right.
looking. Like, the most I've been undressed in front of like children, nieces and nephews, kid,
Mhm.
my own
Mhm.
son, is like without a shirt on, just like a bra. But that was like maybe my son and my nieces. My nephew, you don't need to see all that. And it was my son when he was, way younger.
Yeah, because you live in the house of people, you're like, oops,
Yeah, but
and we wear bathing suits. We go to like the beach and the pool, and yes, you wear bathing suits, so they see that. But I'm not
But
walking around butt ass
yeah,
naked
even when
in
they were
front of
here for
my
me during the
children.
summer, when
Hmm.
they were taking their baths and everything, so the oldest was 10 and the youngest was 3, and I
Right.
allowed the 10-year-old to bathe the other two, well, the younger one, and she and the other one went on there on their own. I'm
Hmm.
not going in there. I'm not, like, I can to assist, but they're old enough to be able
Right.
to take a bath and everything by themselves. So
Right.
I shouldn't be in there scrubbing between her legs and none of that. Not the 10-year-old. Now, the 3-year-old, I will assist her and help her, but I'm also going to show her how to do it so I don't have to do it, because they
Yeah.
shouldn't be getting used to all these different people touching them down there and all that. No.
Yeah, that's no bueno. We also need to teach our children boundaries and
Mm-hmm.
safety when it comes to their personal body.
I had one of my friend's son was coming
Mhm.
home from school,
Yes.
and he was going to preschool,
Okay.
daycare. It
Okay.
wasn't even preschool, it was daycare. And he would come home and he would point at his lap and say, sit here, sit here. And I told her, you need to go to that school and talk to somebody because something is happening.
Right.
Come to find out, it was some older kids there, and they was teaching the kids inappropriate things, telling them about their sexuality and stuff like that. These
You need
maybe
to
8 or
check their
9 year
homes too. Those
right,
kids'
either
homes.
yeah, they're like 8 or 9 and talking to these 3 and 4 and 5 year olds about this. Like, that's totally inappropriate. And the
Yes.
kids end up getting kicked out, but they're learning from their parents. Like, um, what is it? Now my brain went. Child Protective Services need
Mhm.
to get involved. I'm thinking they did because this has been
Okay.
years ago.
But you know
But
what? Now that childcare services needs to be investigated because they can be charged with neglect. The fact
mhm,
that they're not watching the children to see what they're doing, that's
mhm,
that's a form of neglect, especially if
yeah,
assault is happening under their watch and they're not
mhm,
aware of it.
yeah. So Miss Jasmine Moss, I hope you learned your lesson. I
I
hope
hope
you
so
get
too.
help. I hope that young child gets help, and she doesn't have any issues,
Mhm.
growing up,
Yes.
because this can be traumatic. So
Yes.
I hope she gets some help.
I hope so too, because we don't want to hear any more disturbing stories
Mm-mm.
about this.
So, did you hear about the explosion in the train station?
No, I have not.
In Washington D.C.
Mhm.
So, well, in Washington, there was a huge explosion, and 9 people were evaluated for smoke inhalation.
Wow.
They had to be closed. The Eastern Market Metro Station had to be closed for several hours Thursday afternoon
Hmm.
after an insulator alarmed passengers of causing a loud noise and billowing smoke. So it was like this just
That's
huge
scary.
explosion. Yeah.
Especially when you're in public transportation, you don't have control of the environment around you. You just have to
Hmm.
go with it or go with the flow and kind of then get yourself into a safe situation.
Right. But can you imagine um, being there and an assembly box on the side of the train,
Mhm.
which was like a 7,000 series train, not that
Mhm.
I know what that is,
Mhm.
came loose and was rubbing against the third rail. And the third rail is what has the electricity.
Yeah.
And so when people end up accidentally touching that third rail, they get electrocuted and die. So that's what
Sparked it or
caused
something.
that's what caused the big explosion.
Okay.
I've seen different videos of people touching that third rail. It was this one where these 3 people were sitting on the train track for some odd reason,
What?
and one of them touched the train track, and then the one beside them touched it, and so the current was going through them and killed both of them while their
Oh
friend was
man,
sitting
yeah, because if
right
your
beside
body
them.
has water.
Hmm. But yeah, the current passed through them, and so those 2 passed away. And if that third person had reached to try to save them, like the second one did, they would have died too.
Yeah, that's the
So yeah,
same. That's so sad.
yeah, but that's crazy to be trying to go home and having to deal with that. But luckily, there was not too many people or anyone really injured. Just those people that had to get seen for smoke inhalation.
Wow, that's so sad. Yeah. You know what? Speaking of explosions, there was a house
Mm-hmm.
in Virginia that's not too far from DC.
Mm-hmm.
The house had exploded, and that explosion killed one firefighter,
I heard about
and
that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
10 other people were hospitalized, um, along with 2 civilians. So 12 people ended up
Mm-hmm.
going to the hospital. And they said, so it kind of stemmed because the resident called the police stating that they had smelt gas. And
Yeah.
if you look at video footage, you actually see the police surrounding the home. So as they got to the house, and I guess the firefighters were heading towards the basement of the home, that's when the home exploded. So the in Virginia, and actually in a lot of America, we have a lot of gas homes. And
Mm-hmm.
so underneath her home, it was a 500-gallon propane tank, I guess, to manage the home. So we don't really realize the what kind of ticking time bombs we have in our basements in certain homes in
Yeah.
America. And um when that explosion happened, that had firefighters trapped inside, and a gentleman named Trevor Brown, he was a 45-year-old married father. He was the one who passed away in this incident, and he was actually a volunteer fireman. So he wasn't even like a full-time fireman. He was
Mm-hmm.
a volunteer of them, and people he like I said, 10 and 2 occupants of the home were rushed to the hospital. Neighbors had captured videos and showing pieces of devastation of the home. You see that, if you look at the videos, you're going to see the streets of that
Yeah.
home, that neighborhood, they're covered in debris from that house. Those homes are pretty big out there. So that house was just like huge, and it pretty much leveled out the home. And I thought that was sad, but she did call. The resident of the home was right to call the police because she smelt the gas, but unfortunately it was
Mm-hmm.
just too late for them to calm the situation down. It's unfortunate. But sorry, I just want to get into people who have gas homes or
Mm-hmm.
homes that are fueled off propane. Check your stuff regularly. Make sure
Definitely.
it's just the same thing with the train explosion. There is maintenance that needs to be done, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
those are the reminders that things need to be checked every so often. We can't just depend on like, okay, well, it's working. These homes, these places were built hundreds of years
Yep.
ago. So make sure we maintain them and keep them up running so we can all be safe.
Definitely. That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Now, I want to know, how would you feel if you were fired for doing your job?
Well, I would feel like it was unjust situation.
And that's just what happened to James Humphrey. So, James Humphrey is a young man who worked for GBRS Group, and it's a company that deals with firearms.
Hmm.
So, James was falsely accused of stealing a firearm. His
Okay.
his company called the police and said that he had left with a box, and when he came back, he no longer had the box. So they said that he stole a firearm. Now, he did leave with a box, and it was right. He didn't come back with that box. But what he did was take that box to FedEx because it needed to be shipped. So when he took it to FedEx, it had a UPS label on it, and they can't send it to them. I mean, send it out. So they have to
Right.
get it back to FedEx. So they ended up sending it back to the office. Now, after they had arrested this man, about 10 minutes or so later, all of a sudden, the box was in a drawer. It showed up 10 minutes after he had been arrested.
Wow, that's awful.
Right. Mind you, he had already been fired because of this.
I
And
would
then
sue for emotional damages.
he has a few GoFundMe's
Hmm.
up. It says he was trying to get $10,000 and they raised 33,351. Um, but the police also said that he was going to report the heck out of it so that it doesn't come back on the owners, so that they don't have any potential repercussions to come back on them.
Yeah.
Then he went out and talked to James as if he was on his side. Oh man, this is crazy. I've been driving you around the city for hours and all this. But you said you was going to report the heck out of it so it don't come back on them.
Right.
So yeah, he does have a GoFundMe out,
He has a
and
case. Okay. He
he
actually has
he
a case.
he does, and I hope they help him. I hope he gets a good job, a good job, because he definitely didn't deserve getting fired for doing his job.
Or arrested either. That's false imprisonment.
Yeah, just because they didn't ask him
Hmm.
or they just assumed.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't done anything to warrant in the past that he would be a thief, then
Hmm.
they shouldn't have just automatically assumed just because he was black that he was stealing a gun.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna ask the race too. I was like, is he a black
Yep.
man? I'm just
Yes,
gonna
ma'am.
assume that's what happens around here.
Hmm.
Bar people. So that's unfortunate.
Right.
Wow.
And I only have one more topic to talk about before we leave.
Okay.
But if you have something else, you can go next.
Well, this is what I wanted to talk about because I've been bringing it up before, but it's about the migrant crisis that's going on in New York. I kind of want to do research on other states that allow asylum seekers. That's just basically people from other countries who are trying to seek refuge from
Mm-hmm.
somewhere that is either dangerous or is not a place that is where they could live. So we all know that Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is busing people to other states
Mm-hmm.
who accept asylum seekers and these states just so happen to be states that are not border towns or border
Mm-hmm.
states, so they don't directly deal with it. So a lot of things have been changing because of it. I'm going to explain what's going on. So
Okay.
because they're allowing people to come into the states without any documentation, there have been increased amount of crime in New York, and this has been done by people who have been immigrating or migrating from the border that have been bused to New York, and
Mm-hmm.
they have been arresting them. So New York has been arresting them, but there's a couple of problems. They've been calling them ghost criminals, and it's because they don't know who these people are. They can't really document them properly. They don't know their criminal history. So what happens is they end up processing them the best way they can, but they re-release them back into New York. And that doesn't have to do with the fact that they're illegal. That has to do with the fact of, for example, like California, you know how they've been doing those stores have been getting robbed, and like New
So
York
you're
has been
looking
getting
for
robbed.
like the sanctuary states, the states that they seek sanctuary and stuff in.
Right. So those states
So
right now are going through it because
yeah.
they're getting these people who are getting dropped off. And now, because they don't really have laws or regulations to kind of regulate things, like
Mhm.
there have been Congress people who've been upset because, for example, there was an old law from Mayor de Blasio. I don't know how long ago he was a mayor of New York, but that
Mhm.
act there, his law blocks New York local police from interacting with immigration. So it makes it
Yeah.
harder to obtain these identities. And listen to this, right? So so they just did like a bust, like a bust on a bunch of
Mhm.
people. And the crime, let me explain the crimes that they're doing. They are robbing bodegas, and these are
Yeah.
bodegas, like one of the bodegas got robbed for $100,000. And they think that
Mhm.
was probably a week's worth of money that was stashed in the register, but they
Yeah.
also knew certain details. So these asylum seekers are actually being sought out for by local people in New York who already
Mm.
do crime, people who live in New York. So
Mhm.
they're like, well, they're not doing the normal criminals they work with. They're getting asylum seekers to do their job because they're not
Mhm.
documented, and it's harder for them to lead back to the people who have been doing it. And so the bust that they did in New York was an illegal apartment complex from a gentleman who's been recruiting us people who've been crossing the border, willing to
Mhm.
do his dirty work. So he's taking advantage of them, but there are also people who've already probably were criminals. And he had his own IT guy on site because he was teaching them to do robberies with these mopeds, robbing
Mhm.
people's cell phones. They bring back the phones and their electronic devices back to this apartment complex, and the
Mhm.
IT person on site would break into these phones and drain people's bank accounts. So they did a raid on this apartment building, and this was like FBI. They did the raid. They arrested all these people. They still can't find who the recruiter was. I think he
Mhm.
dipped beforehand, but it's something that's been going on in New York where now the people and Congress are trying to say, you know what, we need a better immigration process. It's kind of what
Yeah.
Abbott was saying at the border. His there the thing is the behind story, or the reason why people want to do it, there is a different motive for everyone. But I think there's an issue that needs to be addressed, and it's that we need to have a better processing when it comes to bringing people in the United States, because
Mhm.
I've like I mentioned before, obviously it's not working. Because
Yeah.
if we would have had a process where, hey, this is your identification card, this is who you need to hold on to this, then you would have a better way of tracking people. But you
Mhm.
don't have that. So you're having people who are coming from other countries who are willing to do criminal activity because New York has these lenient laws on, okay, well, you don't have a past record, so I guess we're just going to let you go back in the
Right.
street. And they still don't know how to identify these people. So there needs to be some type of order that goes on here, because it's not everybody who's bad. But if you hear this, like, you come to America and you're being
Mhm.
taken advantage of by people in America to do
And
your
then
crimes.
it's like they're doing the people that they're shipping over there in New York like they would pigeons. So on top of the buildings, they put like the spike strips. So in certain places, it's this one place that's across the street from somebody. I can't remember. So across the street from one of those places that they're shipping the
Mhm.
homeless people. So across the street, in order to deter them from coming over there, they're putting those little spike
Mhm.
metal things to keep them
Right.
from laying there,
Yep.
keep them from sitting on the stoops. And
Yep.
you would think that these people are heartless, because how could you do that to a human? It's bad enough you're doing it to the animals, and I get
Yep.
why you're doing it for the pigeons and everything, try to keep
Mhm.
your building clean and all that type of stuff. But
Right.
the humans, they have nowhere to go. Why would you put that on yeah, it's just weird.
No,
So
I know
yeah,
exactly what I forgot the term of it, but it's something like a fern. There's a term for it because it's supposed to deter people
Mm-hmm.
from sleep. Like they showed what these benches, they've made benches very uncomfortable. They've installed like not just spikes, but like little balls in places that people
Mm-hmm.
can't
Yeah.
sit. They put like big balls, little balls, and it makes it uncomfortable for people to sit on. You see like Google images, and some places don't even didn't have it a year before, and it's not even just spikes. They've been putting planters, like giant pots, so now
Mm-hmm.
they put like because they say like that's inhumane what the spikes were, so now they're getting creative by putting giant pots in places where people used to sit or lay down, or where benches used to be. They've taken them out of train stations in New York and given them like this little wall leaning thing. So yeah, they're trying to, it's suspicious, but it's wrong. Like you can't, like, we don't have places for these people to go, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the last thing I want to talk about before we go
Okay.
is last episode we were talking about anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been watching, or me and my boyfriend was looking for a new one. And so we decided to watch Solo Leveling because everyone has been talking about it. It was in one of the charts where, would you pick this team over another team? And he was one of the ones that they said, would go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we decided to look into it. And so Solo Leveling is basically like he's inside of a game. And he can see before he gets to see all of the functions and everything of the game, he's an E-rated hunter.
Okay.
And he is basically the lowest rank. There is A, B, C, D, E, F, S, and so on. And he's an E. He's low. He has no power. They go into this dungeon and they have to figure out something. And he ends up figuring it out, but all the people that was in there with him left him, and he ended up dying. Had they listened to him,
Oh, wow.
everybody would have made it out alive. But
Yeah.
they didn't. So somehow he ended up getting a second chance, and he got a second awakening. So with that, he was able to see like the options in the game. If you get a notification or if you have side quests or whatever, they pop up, and like he can't touch them, but he can acknowledge them, and he has to do those quests. So with him doing those, he levels up and he gets stronger and stronger. So everyone still thinks he's an E-ranked hunter, but he's strong. But they don't know that yet. So he, except for this one person, because they seen him in the dungeon, and he took out a top boss, which was a spider, and I hate spiders.
Oh.
But yeah, they saw him take out those and some D and C ranked hunters. And once they did that, he was like, "I want you to be my boss and everything." And was like, "I'll keep your secret." So I'm waiting on the next episode, but you can tell the change. He upgrades, he has to upgrade his stamina and all that stuff like you do in a regular game. And I just feel like it's really good. I'm definitely going to enjoy it. And I think you should watch it. It's a little gory. I know I said I don't like gory stuff, but I can
I'm
actually
okay with
watch.
cartoon gore.
Yeah, I can actually watch this. So yeah, it's pretty good. And it's called Solo Leveling. And that character's name is Jinwoo.
Jinwoo.
Song Jinwoo, yeah. And that's a good one. So you definitely, it only has like 6 or 7 episodes out now. I think the 7th one actually comes out today.
Okay.
So
What is it, on Netflix or something?
it's on Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll. Got it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's on Netflix, but it might be. But yeah, that's one that you should definitely look into.
Awesome. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
All right. So yes, I do want to thank you all for tuning in and listening to Not Your Average Podcast. And I want to thank Lady Roscoe again for being a wonderful co-host with me.
Oh, you are awesome too.
Yeah, I love our topics. And like, we said, a part of appreciation, a friendship is, appreciation. And I do appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate all our listeners out there listening to us. We're growing slowly but surely.
Yes. Thank you to those who listen to us weekly. We see that you guys are like there, so we appreciate that.
Definitely. And we actually have a few people that listen to us in other countries. We have someone that listens to us in Great Britain and United Kingdom.
Remember Bangladesh?
Bangladesh, yes, Bangladesh and Britain. So I do thank you, United Kingdom. What is one of them?
Right, you said
that's
that.
the same thing. It's the same thing, but yeah. Thank you all. And if you don't know, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Not Your Average Podcast. On some of them, you have to put TX at the end.
Yes.
On Instagram, it's not NOT, Your Average Podcast, TX. We will be we're going to try to start putting weekly videos on our social media so that y'all can see some things.
Right, and our YouTube too.
Yeah, whether it's the Am I the Asshole, a horror story, some true crime. We're just going to try to do some different things. So you can catch us there. And just again, thank you. In our personal Instagram, I'm Yoko Camille.
And I am Lady Roscoe, and you can find me LAYDIE Roscoe ROSCOE on social media. Really easy. Or you can just type it in Google and it should pull up something.
Right. And I want you to stay tuned to a project that we do have coming out on Tubi. It's going to be called Public Relations Nightmare. And it should be coming on Tubi actually within the next couple of weeks, hopefully. So you can get to see us in person and see how we look if you don't know.
Right.
And
don't be shy. Don't be shy to look at us. And, because Yoko over here trying to act all bashful and stuff. Like, okay, we're both Tubi stars, but she's actually like a TV star too. So she's been on TV shows and stuff like that. So like, I think that's pretty cool. Like, so I'm just now getting on her level.
Hey, I'm trying to get there, I have been on Walker.
Just don't leave me behind. I'm tailing right behind you.
We're going to be there together. As soon as I make it big, I'm going to take you with me. But check us out and follow us on those social medias. If you haven't followed us on Spotify,
right,
Amazon, Google, Apple, go ahead and do so. But thank you all, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
Have a wonderful day, and happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Average about it, just get glad that you found it. Tell a friend about it. Know we all about it, so we gon' speak about it. Yoko, Camille, and Lady Roscoe, leave no doubt about it. Scream it out from the mouth. This not your average podcast. You ain't talking about nothing. When they hit the highway, they talking about something. Better tune in and listen. Get the scoop, they dig it. It's just an open discussion. Now tell me what's your position. You know what it is. Not your average podcast. You know what I'm saying? Yoko, Camille, Lady Roscoe. Y'all tap in. You know what I'm saying?